Hello guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. It's been a long time you saw my face, yeah, but we are good. We'll be starting another series on how I do most of my shooting, do most of my lighting and other stuff. So I had a comment on one of my videos that I should do a video on how to get your image sharp in camera, not in Photoshop, in camera. So I figure out so many points that I want to share with you on how you get most pictures sharp in your images. Okay, let's get into it. The first thing I want to pinpoint is you have to get a good camera and a good lens. Most people feel like they can use their, let's say, the Rebel whatever, or the 60D, or the D7000s, or the D whatever, to get sharp images as the the mirrorless guys are using. Is not going to happen that way. It's never going to happen. So you might see a video in YouTube or on YouTube that you feel like the person is using probably maybe an aperture of 1.8 or 2 or something, and getting a nice and a sharp images, thinking you using a crop sensor camera can get the same sharpness. It's not going to happen. So you need to put that in your mind and know that the camera that you are using is a factor, and the lens that you are using is also a factor. You cannot use a 15 to 200 or 105 lens to get a sharp images as someone who's going to use 50 f1.8 will get a more sharp image than someone who is using a 15 to 105, which has an aperture which moves along the line with the zooming. Okay, so just look at these differences when planning on getting nice images in your pictures in camera. Okay, yeah, that is a factor. And the other factor too is knowing how to hold your camera. Knowing how to hold your camera. Some people hold the camera anyhow and take pictures, and it's not going to help you, and it's not going to get you to have sharp images. You see, when you're doing a handheld video, okay, you cannot go this way and hold your camera. You have to put your hand beside you like this and go. All right. It's only when you want to do something like this that you have to open up your arms. But when you're doing the mirrorless way of doing the viewfinder, the screen thing of vibe in shooting, you have to put your hand by your side, and that will stabilize your body and the camera as well. But you have to learn how to hold your camera well, and that tip will help you get nice and sharp images. Yeah. So let's get into another one, which is going to be something you already know, but it's a little bit confusing to most creatives. Yeah. And that is going to be our exposure triangle. And people get confused about these three. You think you know, but you don't know. For myself, I'm still learning. Okay, I'm still learning. But the little thing I know about this exposure triangle is is one thing that has helped me to get sharp images. We already know that we already know that in the exposure triangle, we have the ISO, we have the aperture, we have the shutter speed, we have the aperture. All right. So we all know that ISO, when you increase ISO, there's more light, there's more noise. And when you reduce it, there's less noise, there's less light. And we know that the aperture, when you increase the aperture, there is more sharpness and less light, and also, yeah, more sharpness and less light. And when you reduce the aperture, you get more blur background, little sharp on the subject and more light. Okay. And when you get to the shutter speed, you know that when you increase your shutter speed, there's less light and there is good shutter. And when you reduce it, there's less shutter, which is going to give you a motion blur and also give you a more light. Okay. So with this brief explanation, you have to know that when shooting at the shutter speed of 80, you are not going to get a sharp image like someone using a shutter speed of 160 or 200. Okay, most people make mistakes in this thing when they get into an area where there is more darker, there's dark in the room. They try to reduce their shutter speed to probably 80. Someone go down and trying to get sharp image is not going to work, because you are always going to get a motion blur, and people are always walking when you are in an event or a place. So getting an image which should be sharp at this area of 80 shutter speed or lesser than that, or 100 less than 100, you are going to get blur images. Yeah. For me, I don't go less than 200. I don't go less than 200. I stay at my 200 wherever I go. What I mostly do is to increase my ISO, reduce my shutter speed, my aperture to the limit of the lens. So if my lens is 50 mm 1.4, I'll drop it to 50 mm to the aperture of 1.4 and get more light and increase my ISO and get my image sharp bit and get more light in it. But if I try to reduce the shutter speed, I might find myself wanting. Yes. So I feel like my hand is stable, but not all that stable. So I will not risk myself in reducing my shutter speed to get more light and expecting to get sharp images. And it's not going to happen that way. Yeah. So you need to understand the exposure triangle very well for you to get sharp images. And one thing you also have to know is that when you increase your ISO more, you'll find out that there is more noise and you will not see enough sharpness in the image. So you need to put that in your mind too. Yeah, you need to put that in your mind. And also try as much as possible not to feel so proud that you have a lens that has 1.4 or 1.2 and you always want to shoot 1.4 or 1.2. There are times when you're shooting portrait and you're at 1.4 or 1.2, one side of the image will be more sharper than the other side, and you have to put that in your mind. But if you want the whole image to be sharp, you can go as far as 2.8 or 3.2, and you are going to get your full sharp images, and your images are going to look sweet. Yeah. So this is advice. If you are using a camera like 60D or the Rebel and you want to get sharp images, try and get a 50 mm. Okay, try and get a 50 mm, which is going to help you for the start. By using the kit lens, you are going to find yourself in a problem and not getting sharp images. Yes. So put that in your mind and also learn how to hold your camera. Learn your camera well, learn how to hold your camera. And I think that will be good for you to get nice images and sharp images as well. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, and share to your friends. We'll be bringing you much more videos concern about these lightnings and stuffs, how I do my one lightning, my two lightning, and other stuff. I'm sure I'm planning on that, and I know God being with us, we shall get there. We shall get there. So stay tuned with us and always don't give up. Peace.